All right, so here we go, step two. This is going to be our left side Z-axis assembly. So we have our plate like so. We have two, let's see, they call these inertia wheels. They're pulleys. We've got 4 nylon spacers, 2 eccentric nuts. We have 7 lock washers or spring washers. We have 4 T-nuts, 2 nylon nuts, 6 regular nuts. We have 4 M410s. We have 4 M530s and 2 M525s. We have 4 more pulley wheels, wheel bearings. I've popped a single bearing out of each of these again. So you can go ahead and do that. And let's get to building. So let's go ahead and let's see, we want to orientate this like so. And again, this one has a couple big holes and then a couple smaller holes. Big holes, smaller holes, all based on which nut we're going to use. Okay, we have this oriented like this with the small hole in this corner pointing towards me. Let's go ahead and grab one of our wheel bearings. Let's put our longer M530 through and then a spring washer. Put that bearing back on, squeeze it on. Spring washer number 2. Spacer, and then up through that small hole. Put on a nut. And let's tighten it down. All right, again, back in this corner. Let's go ahead and do the other small one, other small hole. So our M530 spring washer, another spring washer, a nylon spacer, and this is going to go up to this other small hole, one of our nuts, if I can get it started, there we go. Get this guy tightened down. There we go. All right. Now let's work on our other ones. So we have our long M5 again, spring washer, and bearing. Oops. And then this time we're going to have eccentric nut and then in through one of the bigger holes. Grab a nut. And again, make sure that nut doesn't fall through the hole because the holes are a little bit big. If you have spare washers around, you can put them on there. Oh yeah, that feels good. And let's do our last one. M530, spring washer, bearing, eccentric nut through the bigger hole, put on a nut, tighten it down, and there we go. Okay, so I had to pause the video there real quick to go back and kind of figure out what's going on here because I got some extra parts over here that aren't in the instructions and not enough parts that are. So I think I figured out what they've done. They kind of mixed or changed the way they did things a little bit. I'm thinking I measured this against my other Tarantula and it seems like it'll be okay. So what we want to do with this piece is we want to put on our pulleys. So we're going to take our M525s. We're going to put it through, and the instructions show lock washer nut, pulley, nylon nut, or nylon lock nut. But there's only one lock washer in this set. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to use these nylon spacers to take the place of that. And then we'll go pulley. And then we'll go nylon nut. Now what I like to do with these nylon nuts is I actually like to put them on backwards, because if you notice, I'm not sure if you can tell in the video, they're a little bit smaller in diameter on the end with the nylon insert. And if you put it in with the normal way, it'll push up against this bearing and then it won't spin freely as easily. So I actually like to put them on backwards. And they might not go on backwards right away at first, so you may actually need to screw them on the normal way first in order to like put some threads into that nylon. Okay. But you can see that it's the nut kind of overlaps the bearing just enough to where if it's too tight, it won't spin freely. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit more leeway with this here. So now that I got some threads kind of burned into that nylon insert, I can put this on backwards. Hopefully. Okay. You don't want it super tight like I did, because then it won't spin. And these actually need to spin pretty freely or else your belt will skip. Okay, there we go. So that's a nice smooth spin. It's pretty loose. I really wish that they would have had a washer in between here that was the size of the pulley. So so this could spin a little bit easier. We may need to adjust this later, but for now, it's what we got. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with this other hole here. So we got nuts, and then we have spacer, pulley, and nylon nut. Okay, and then you can flip that nut around again like I did with that first one if you want, or you can leave it alone. I'll probably flip it around off camera, but for now, just get those guys fairly loose and spinning. This one's still a little too tight for my liking. There we go. Okay. And then that is step 2, finished up. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and put these 4 screws through, even though they don't show you doing it yet. Do they? No. But they're actually, let's see, this is gonna mount like so. So these need to go. Let me look real quick. Yeah, so these 4 are going to go through with the wheels facing you this way, and then just put these T-nuts on. You can see there one side's kind of serrated. It's got bumps on it. You want to point that towards the plastic. And just spin these on a couple spins. You don't want them on there tight at all, because you're going to want to move those around. And last one, weird. 2 of those nuts are completely different type. Okay, so there is our left side Z mount, Z axis.